Welcome to the Gig Log, everyone. Today we are on our way to one of our 8 events this weekend here in May, because it is a crazy season here at MHP, and we have 8 events this weekend, including the one we're going to right now to set up for the weekend. It is at Pottsville Middle School, which is like right across town, kind of for us, and it is a place we've been to probably a dozen times before for different events. This is for a dance recital for Crystal's dance recital. So we are going to set up some sound equipment today, which is all in the back. And then later on this weekend, we are doing a musical and doing a 60th birthday party video. Tons and tons of stuff this weekend. So enjoy the ride, everyone.
What's inside of me? I don't know if it's dream or reality, 'cause your lies and your pain makes me wanna scream, but I'm finding a way that will set me free. I'm so addicted to you, I'm so conflicted with you. Why can't you see that we're through? Better believe that it's true. I should have opened my eyes, seen through your ugly disguise.
Alright, so after getting cleared by the school with their security team, so that way we can actually be in the room, we came into the room and there were a bunch of kids there. So we had to wait a little bit and wait for their sound system to be opened. But now we're just setting up our own soundboard right next to the venue's soundboard, because this one kinda isn't that great, I'm just gonna say. So we're gonna actually plug our outputs into this mixer, and then we have a microphone in the very front of the room, as you can tell way down there in the very front, so that way we can capture like all of the like tap dancing for the show. And normally we'd put another microphone there for like a floor microphone, but we don't actually have those. They are at another location right now, so we don't have enough of them for this weekend. And I tried my best to rent them, but there's none available because it's a busy month. So in the very front, you're gonna see power amps on the ground down there. That is so that we can get power to both of our stage monitors, so the actors and the dancers can actually hear the music that they're playing through the sound system. And up here we have a wireless mic so that the director can talk during the show and talk to the kids during the rehearsals and stuff like that. What we're gonna do right now is actually plug our phone that we're using to record this vlog into the sound system with my mixer, and that way we can get a constant signal. We're gonna play an audio tone just out of it. That way it's a constant sound. That way you're at one certain volume the entire time. You play that through your sound system at a proper gain, and you figure out what the proper gain is supposed to be on this mixer, and that way you can actually link 2 mixers together, and that way when you hit your proper levels over here, your proper levels will already be over here. And that way, you know that these 2 outputs, the left and right, are getting sent to 1 and 2 on this soundboard, and that way, everything works very, very smoothly, and you don't have to constantly adjust both mixers the entire show. That way, it's basically as if you're only using 1 mixer, but really you're using 2. So that's how we link our mixers, and right now I'm going to basically test the sound system like that before I actually get started testing any microphones, because I want to know whatever I'm adjusting on my microphones on this soundboard is how I need it to be. The sound levels are all appropriate for this soundboard, for their soundboard in the venue. All right, so now the sound system is linked. So we have both mixers working jointly. Basically the 0 level on this mixer is now the level over here. So we no longer have to touch this mixer at all. So what I'm gonna do is actually turn on the music here a bit, and I'm gonna actually cover over these 2 inputs on this mixer, and that way basically no one's gonna come by and touch those 2 inputs and mess up the sound. If you're wondering why I'm playing my own music, so that we don't have copyright strike in this video, but what I'm gonna do here, first off, this little pouch so much during gigs. Helps me just go around and have everything in my pocket, and that way I can just pull out multi-tools, anything I need. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna label these. MHP left and right, and that way people coming tomorrow night for the rehearsal will know it was MHP's equipment that's plugged into those two inputs, and so they know not to touch anything there. So now everything on this board is set, so we can forget about this board and on to just making sure all the microphones work in the entire room. And you know, while I'm doing a product placement of our amazing services here at MHP for our audio and lighting division of rentals and engineering for different events, why not do some more product placement of a different product that we also sell and play some good old music? This is a song called Lost Art, and apparently it's my highest rated song of all time. I don't know how that happened, but let's play some Lost Art. So now we are all done the setup process. Up there, we have two custom speakers with Crown XLS 1000 power amplifiers with a backup power amplifier just in case something goes wrong this weekend. I don't want to have to come back. Even though it's a really close venue, I still would much prefer to just tell them plug the other one in and you'll be good to go. But they are all set up in the front there. They all work perfectly. The speakers up here work because we linked the two boards properly. And you know what you should do after every single gig is completed, and once you have everything set up, before you go cleaning everything up and going home for the day, make sure you have a little fun, because this is an industry where we get to do what we love every single day. We get to wake up and, you know, be excited to go out to work. We get to entertain thousands of people. I know this weekend we're entertaining a couple thousand between all of the events that we're a part of, and I absolutely love what I do, but there are those moments where basically after all the hard work is done, all the headaches are completed, and you know, all the preliminary work is done. First off, we started this whole gig a couple weeks ago, contacted the venue here, came here in person to see the venue to make sure all the connections will work, see what exactly they have for us to work with. That way I know what I'm dealing with once I come on location. I know what equipment to bring with me, all that kind of stuff. This has been in the works for a couple weeks for this single event. So one thing I always do to enjoy myself a little bit and have my little moment on set before I start packing up and going home is I play some Choice of All.
Take a trip into my garden, I got something to show you. The fountains and the waters are begging just to know that it's true.
And one final note before we leave is that before you leave any location, especially for rentals, take lots of pictures of all of your gear. We took pictures of all the monitors, all the cables down there, the power amps, the mixers up here, everything we did to make sure that first off, we have some evidence that it was in proper working order and what it looked like before the client had access to it. And that way, just in case something bad happens, not that it would with any of our customers, but just in case, we do have pictures to prove something. And then once we come back on Monday to pick everything up, we'll take pictures again right before we pick it all up and we set it all down. That way we have some reference there. And you don't need to keep those photos forever, just a couple weeks just to make sure everything works properly. You know, just in case something goes wrong, you can go back to the photos and know, here's what it looked like before and here's what it looked like after. I'm also telling my client for this one, and all of my clients, I always tell to, once they arrive here, their first day, take the same pictures that we took. And then as soon as they leave the location, take pictures again. And that way they have some evidence to prove that, hey, if a piece of equipment was broken while they weren't here, they have some evidence on that now. They have photo proof that, hey, here's how it was like at this certain timestamp when I left the venue, and here's how it was like when I came back. Or here's what it was like on the final day of the production, and I have photos of how it was like when I picked it up the next day or something. That way it basically goes all back to evidence of knowing who exactly broke what, if anything does break. Literally, I've been doing this for almost 18 years now, and I think I've only ever had like one cable break, and even that was just normal wear and tear. So it's not a huge issue, just the more rentals you do, the more you learn that, hey, it's a wise choice to do that kind of thing. And that way, not necessarily your customer, but the venue or whoever was responsible for it at that given moment should be held responsible to repair or replace it in case it got broke somehow. So I took pictures of all of our equipment. I also just got done recording a video to send to my client and their sound engineer for the weekend, and that way they know exactly what order I want everything turned off and on in. They know that to turn the sound system of the venue on first and then turn our system on, and how to do that, where the power buttons are located, where exactly we left the microphone for them to use for the wireless, where extra batteries are located inside the soundboard compartment, how to replace a battery in case they need to, all that kind of stuff. I want to give the client as much information as possible, and that way they do it to how my staff would do it working for me. And that way, kind of it cuts down on the risk of the equipment being broken, of knowing that if I do it according to how the manufacturer likes it to be done and tells you to do it, and I tell my client to do it the same way, then I know that if they do it that way, it shouldn't get broken and nothing should ever happen. But just in case, I do have those photos to go back on. It's just a wise choice and something that takes a couple minutes to do before you leave a location, but it's definitely worth those couple minutes. And now we are gonna just load out all the extra equipment that I brought. It's always a wise choice to bring some extra equipment with you to a venue to know, you don't ever know if the equipment, the number of cables you put on a contract is gonna be exactly correct. It definitely wasn't for this. We ended up saving, I think, a cable or two off of the contract. We ended up using a lot more adapters than we had on the contract originally. So it kind of evens out in the end. It's just a matter of, what exactly is written on the contract. I'll definitely be, writing up what equipment we used on this specific job to know, first off, for our own benefit of what gets used the most out of our entire inventory, to know what to buy next if we have some budget next year for new equipment. But I will definitely be keeping track of what equipment was used, that way next time if the same client comes back to me and asks for the same exact thing, or another client comes back and asks for the same thing in this venue, I know exactly what's going to need to go out of the door, just to know what exactly to bring. I'll still bring extra, but just in case, I have a list of what was used. And then I also, with every venue I go to, whenever I scout out the location, which happened last week when I came here to scout it out once again, I kept track of all the measurements, and I have a whole database of every single venue we've ever been to know all the dimensions, where exactly connections are, what kind of connections they are, what channels they go back up to the soundboard with, just to make absolutely certain that next time we're here, we have all of that in our database to know, here's how we need to plug in, here's what we need to do for the next event. So let's load out, and I will see you guys, I guess, in the production truck on the way to our next meeting for the day. Because tonight I actually have a client come over to drop off some footage for a 60th birthday party video that she had all of her family members from around the country send video clips into. So then to her, and then we're going to edit that for her this week, on top of having 6 events this weekend. So all of this is definitely off, covered over, and now we're off to load up all of our gear. By the way, thank you so much to the Pottsville Area Middle School and the school board for letting us come in again. It's like the probably 12th time I've been back here. I've been here a lot. Anyway, definitely always a good event, and thank you to Ricky here for working with us for the past couple weeks to ensure today went as smoothly as possible. There's always problems, there's always complications. Like today, I came in here and there's a bunch of kids sitting in here. There was all of this on the stage that wasn't supposed to be here. Tons of stuff goes wrong all the time. You're never gonna have a perfect event. It's just after like 4,000 events I've been a part of now, hasn't happened once. So things always happen, but we kept it minimal with a lot of communication beforehand with the entire staff here at Pottsville Middle School to know what exactly needs to happen and when. And between my staff and theirs, we worked everything out to ensure our client gets to come in here tomorrow night for their dress rehearsal and everything's perfect for them and it all sounds wonderful. So I will see you guys on the road.